Hello Channel NITT viewers, I am DS, your psychologist, and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. We are going to do another ENTJ compatibility episode, and the other MBTI type that we will talk about today is the INFP. So I think the INFP is one of the most difficult MBTI types to do for this compatibility episodes. Why? Because in my personal experience, I know of a lot of INFP people and they are quite different. Why? I think because they all lead by FI as their dominant function, and FI is personal values, and every of the INFPs may have a personal value that is different, so this leads them to be quite different. I have INFPs who are okay with me, they might like me, but I also have INFPs that detest me, hate me to the core. So generally, the INFPs that do not seem to like me tend to be very young. They could be in their 20s. They tend to be immature, rude, rebellious, and entitled.
This is your room? It was my parents' room, but I made them trade me.
I think maybe the way I talk makes them feel that I am full of myself, and it really puts them off. Like, hey, you know everything, you go and die lah. That kind of attitude. Alright, I go and die lah. Bye.
I say I hate you, we break up, you call me, I love you.
Well, there are also other more mature INFPs that I know of. They tend to be older. They like to share themselves. They are also keen in learning. One of the characteristics that I find in many INFPs is that they are really forgetful. They might tell you that they want to do something for you, but usually they did not complete what they promised to do. So I get that whatever that an INFP may have promised that they will do to you or for you, such as giving you a call later, is valid at the point of promise. So for example, let's say an INFP tells you that he will call you or she will call you. At that time of the promise, they really mean it. It's just that down the road, they start to have other commitments and obligations, and whatever they promise for you is no longer prioritized. They become overwhelmed with other things that they also need to do. It may be an NE trait. Of course, this may not apply to all INFPs because some INFPs may value trust, some may value integrity. So this is a very hard episode to do because I do not see a consistent trait in most INFPs that I know. From an ENTJ's point of view, I really admire the INFP for their ability to be really true to themselves. So they are usually genuine and spontaneous, and this is something that I really like in a person. However, sometimes the INFP can also appear to be very erratic and unpredictable. Nonetheless, I believe that INFPs learn is a life journey, so as they get older, they also become more mature. Incidentally, in my entire life, I have actually dated an INFP. Not a very good experience. But initially it was quite interesting because this INFP, due to the NE, is very imaginative and outwardly imaginative. So she believes that she's a princess and she is an actress in her imagination. So I always have to play along. So during our dating phase, she will introduce her set of friends to me, and this set of friends are just imaginary friends. Her pillow is called Violet, then her bolster has a different name, and she wants me to communicate to them as well.
He loves to sing la 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 Elmo song.
Well, in a way, I do find it cute. It is very refreshing to see a person do such a thing. However, in the long run, this is quite frightening because it's an inefficient use of time. Also, because at that point in time, we were all very young, so I am not too sure whether it is a trait of more immature INFPs or generally many INFPs are like this. One thing I realized as an ENTJ who used to have a relationship with an INFP may be really hard to please. Well, not the INFP that I know, but in general, INFPs abide by their own values. So they might question you, why did you not call me? They ignore the 20 times that you called them and only focus on the time that you forgot to call them or you were too busy to call them. It's sometimes as if they only choose to see what they want to see, and they will negate your days and years of hard work just by one incident. So personally, I find this very hard to accept. I have also experienced the INFP tantrums before. I really hope that I do not get any of this again for the rest of my life. Again, I am not too sure whether the trait that I've observed was a trait of younger INFPs because I really can't tell. But I have really experienced an INFP tantrum before. It is horrible for an ENTJ. So I can only judge the INFP in this regard based on my previous relationships with INFP. And I really feel that this compatibility is a real question mark. In a weird way, I do enjoy the interactions with the INFP because they are really interesting and they are really different. They are true to themselves, which is something that I really value. However, sometimes I feel that a relationship with the INFP is centered around the INFP. And where is the ENTJ? I am a human being too. I am in a relationship with you. I also want to be loved. I want to be cared for. However, I'm always doing the work. So, you know lah, sad. In any relationship, the ENTJ is very likely to value equality. And probably my past experience with an INFP tells me that a relationship between the INFP and the ENTJ is not equal. Even though I can really relate well with INFPs in real life, most of them at least. Some really don't like me, okay? But most INFPs that I know are quite okay with me. We can really talk very well. At the communication level, it is very interesting, but still not intellectually stimulating enough. Because the normal friendly conversation between the ENTJ and the INFP can be really very stimulating. So it might appear that the INFP and the ENTJ could be a possible match. But I have reservations. I really hope that I do not get any of this again for the rest of my life. So for this combination to work, I think there are two things that are very important. First, the INFP and the ENTJ must be aligned. They must have the same alignment in life. And the INFP must realize that the ENTJ is an individual who is like the INFP meant to shine.
Shine bright like a diamond.
So INFPs, please don't drag the ENTJ down and forbid him from doing what he is supposed to be best at in his or her area. I still believe that in a relationship, both partners are to help each other to shine and to fly higher and to become better versions of themselves. And so far, as an ENTJ, I am only confident that I can do that for the INTJ. Of course, there are other possible combinations as well, and we will come to that when we come to that episode. So overall verdict is a question mark, but I will say that it is not likely, unless there is a INFP who is mature enough to want to align with the ENTJ and realizes that justice is very important. Equality is very important. It is still possible because the FI may value justice or equality, but not very sure, it's quite unlikely also. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We are going to produce a lot more MBTI episodes as well, and we release every other day. If you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can continue to add value to you. Meanwhile, I'll see you again in my next episode. Goodbye!